Thanks for watching this episode of GTV. But first, a word from our sponsor. This video is brought to you by John Nord's VPN. Are you tired of having your unencrypted data harvested by hackers, governments, and corporations, especially those who act, corporation-y? Then check out John Nord's VPN. This service creates an encrypted, secret parallel reality where your electrons can move freely, whether it's anime blocked by antiquated copyright laws, Bitcoin farming to avoid fiat currency, or God knows whatever else you do in your free time. John Nord's VPN will protect it by replacing on-screen images and data with references to former WWE superstar, The Berserker. Now, the man will think you're just a wrestling mark with a nostalgia for short-lived mid-carders. Want to watch that new movie online before it hits the theaters? Want to make a monetary transaction to the Cayman Islands? Want to make fun of various world leaders without having you and 3 generations of your family sent to the gulag? Sign up now at johnnord.vpn/GTV and get a free 7-day trial when you sign up for a 3-year subscription for just $89.95 per month with recurring billing, after which you can cancel anytime. John Nord's VPN. If you don't like it, there's something wrong with you. And now, on with the show. This is GTV, always on the inside track. What you are watching is the sport of keirin. Literally translated, keirin means racing cycle. Invented in Japan in the early 20th century, keirin is a variation of traditional track cycle racing that tests the ability of cyclists on a 1.5-kilometer course at various speeds behind a motorized pace cycle, which by the final lap leaves the track, allowing racers to reach full speed. Prize money is offered to the top racers in each competition. The money is tallied up over the course of a season. That amount determines a racer's ranking, while the top earner is given the title of king. The sport became popularized nationwide in 1948, when the Japanese government legalized gambling racing sports, which also included horse, speedboat, and motorcycle racing. Other sports betting is illegal. Casinos and other games of chance are also forbidden. With the boost in popularity, keirin developed formalized rules and a proper league in the 1950s. Today, the sport pulls in an average of 5 million spectators to live events each year, with 600 billion yen in bets placed annually. That's about $5 billion US. The sport was not too well known outside of Japan until the year 2000, when keirin-style cycling was included in the Olympics for the first time, and has been featured in every successive Olympiad. With such a popular sport, it was only natural that keirin superstars would emerge. If baseball had Sadaharu Oh, and pro wrestling had Antonio Inoki, then who would be the biggest name in the world of keirin? The answer is this man, Koichi Nakano. In his heyday, the 1970s and 80s, he was the most successful racer, taking the title of prize money king each year between 1976 and 1989, except 82, where he just missed it. Internationally, Koichi Nakano won 10 consecutive gold medals in the keirin division of the World Track Championships during that amazing run as well. With his fame on the keirin circuit, Koichi Nakano crossed over into mainstream media, both during and after his career. Koichi appeared as an analyst for keirin events and other sports programs, some talk shows, a few TV dramas, and, I actually can't believe it, released a few records as well. Peak 70s, to say the least. In 1992, Koichi Nakano formally retired at the age of 37, where his media presence grew further as he could focus on that full-time. It wouldn't be long until he, like oh so many before, affixed his name to a video game, setting a short-lived trend in motion: keirin video games. After a quick timeout, get your helmet and let's ride.
Nakano Koichi, 世界選手権10連覇。汗なくして栄光は語れない。髪は人を語る。
アートネイチャー。
有名選手が実名で登場。本格派競輪ゲームにリアルな生活感が加わった。全く新しい競輪ライフシミュレーション。スーパーファミコン用ソフトスーパー競輪。7月14日発売予定。
IMAX。
On November 18, 1994, Koichi Nakano's Kanshu Keirin O was released for the Super Famicom by Coconuts Japan. Kanshu means supervised by, and Keirin O means simply Keirin King, as each top prize money earner was referred to as King. So, let's pop this game into the old Super Famicom and see how it goes. Well, this is not the kind of game you'd expect. Yes, it is a Keirin game, a Keirin training simulator. Since no one in 1994 outside of Japan knew or cared about the sport, I'd place this game ahead of every RPG on the never to be released outside of Japan list. The massive wall of Japanese text also earns this game a spot on the never to be fan translated list too. So what is it all about? The game is supervised by Koichi Nakano. As such, he consulted with the designers about the elements of training and of the sport to ensure its authenticity. You don't actually get to play as Koichi Nakano, only that you will always be safe in the knowledge that he oversaw all of this. To what degree is never said. You can create your own character, including name and hometown, then start training for upcoming races, eventually enter competitions and win money. You start on April 1st, 1994, and begin to train for the upcoming Keirin season, and work hard to increase your power and stamina, getting your bike up to speed, then just maintaining it. It's basically just a lot of button A mashing. A few activities are automatic, and you don't do anything, you just watch. As you train, your coach will pop up and tell you to work harder, or that you're doing a good job. Is that Koichi Nakano? Without the glasses, I can't tell. You can also visit the doctor. He offers medical advice and can also give you painkillers or tape you up if you're hurting, as well as giving you a physical every now and then. You can also upgrade your bike, check your upcoming races, or just take a day off. Actions take up most of your day, and after you have trained or visited the doctor, the day is over. One of the frustrating parts of this game is that to get the next day to happen, you must return home, rather than automatically returning and waking up the next day. Eventually, the time comes when you can actually race, usually about once every 2 weeks. The day before the race, you are not allowed to train and can only check your physical condition and get a look at the racetrack. On race day, you are given a lane and a quick look at the competition. During the races, all you can do is watch. The race just goes on and on while you sit there and do nothing. It's pretty long, and after the first time, you won't want to sit through that all over again. The game does offer a digest version of the race that just shows the so-called exciting parts. After the race is over, you pick up your winnings and go back to training. Basically, that's it, repeated over and over until you reach the rank of S and become the King of Keirin, or realize that you can't cut it and retire, or just turn off the game. There's also a variation of the game called Party Mode, where you can skip all the training stuff and just race. Just watch the race. You would think that would be the end of Keirin's flirtation with video games, but wrong-o. The next year saw the release of Super Keirin. This game was made by IMAX, a different company. It's a full-fledged RPG. Basically, your character trains and practices to become the King of Keirin. The story is actually kind of cute. You have a girlfriend in the game and an arch-nemesis you have to compete against. He might even steal your girl if you aren't careful. If you think of each race as some kind of battle, I'd go as far as to say that Super Keirin is a nifty little RPG. As far as the bike racing element goes, however, you do visit actual Keirin arenas all over Japan and can interact with over 400 actual athletes whose real names are mentioned in the game, even if their likenesses really aren't. There is also a party mode, where you can just have the races without the story. You know, just watch the races, not play them. You know, what is the deal with just watching the races? I guess that has to be from the fact that most people experience Keirin as a passive activity, where most are in it just to place bets and win money, while very few have any dreams of becoming a big star. The opposite of baseball or soccer, that's for sure. For what it's worth, there was one more Super Famicom game to feature Keirin, a game called Ippatsu Gyakuten, which is a real gambling game, based on all 4 kinds of racing sports you can legally bet on in Japan. It's interesting, but nothing too special. And of course, lots of endless menus and watching races, rather than partaking in them. There was one game that did actually let you race, just one. In 1998, to commemorate the 50th year of organized Keirin, the game Super Keirin Big Thanks Dream with Keirin 50 Years was released for the Sega Saturn by Aspect. You know, the makers of Sonic 2 for Game Gear. Of course, it goes without saying that the game was released only in Japan. But more than that, the game was never formally put on sale, and instead was given away for free at select Keirin events that year, making Super Keirin Big Thanks one of the rarest video games around. Even though there is a mode that lets you train over and over again, or just lets you watch the race, you can actually finally compete for once and race your bike. It actually is kind of fun and not that bad of a game, at least in this head-to-head mode. Following Big Thanks in 1998, the Keirin fad for TV games faded away. There were no other games released of this style that I could ever recall in the 21st century, though Keiba, or horse racing, is still just as strong as ever. Keirin games pop up now and then, but only for pachinko, slot, and metal games, which makes sense as the reason most people watch the sport in the first place is to gamble. One of the more recent examples is Girls Keirin, a slot-based game where you work out and train all day to prepare for your big race later on. I guess it's just one of those things that makes Japan, Japan. From the gambling aspect, to the one-off hit singles, to games that aren't really games, to having the faith that a game developer can throw anything against the wall in the hopes that it will stick. Keirin is what it is, a part of the culture that's just there. And as such, people will try to make some yen off of it, if they can. And in the end, there's nothing wrong with that.
Amagi no yuhi o se ni ukete nagai sakamichi kage hitotsu toi ano hito shinobu tabi fuyu no